We are going to share with you our experience at the Idaho Horse Expo, where we took our 3-year-old filly Trisha to be part of the colt starting demonstration. But first, the story really starts in 2018 when we bought our first broodmare Jessa. Fast forward a year, in 2019, Trisha was born. In early 2022, we saw a Facebook post from a local-ish trainer that we were familiar with, saying that she was putting on a colt starting demonstration at the Idaho Horse Expo, and she was in search of a colt to use for this demonstration. Because of the limited amount of time she would have with the colt, just 1 hour each day, she was looking for a horse that was ready to start, and we thought that Trisha would fit the bill. She was 3 years old, she had been handled most of her life, she had been saddled and ponied and had some groundwork done, and we thought she was mentally mature enough to handle this kind of situation. The trainer, Lucia, agreed that Trisha sounded like the perfect fit, so we all loaded up and headed to Idaho.
She's had 25 years experience starting colts and has been training for over a decade. She competes in colt starting competitions all over the United States. She is the first woman to qualify for the Colt Starting Challenge USA at the MFR in Vegas. The mare that she'll be working with today is Trisha. She's a 3-year-old quarter horse. She's been turned out most of her life, and she's owned by Kelly and Brianna Thompson. This little quarter horse mare here, she's a new cash bred mare, and this is the first time actually Lucia has ever met this horse.
What I'm doing with this horse first is just getting her just comfortable with me. So when I had her bent around like this and I was just kind of applying my energy, my body in her midsection, this is the most crucial part in this horse's education. Because many times we desensitize, we do all this stuff with our horse, and then we forget where we sit, right here. If we really want to get technical and ask ourselves if our horse follows a feel, when I take the slack out of the lead rope, like that, and my horse follows it without me stepping backwards with my feet or driving with the flag, now this horse knows how to lead.
It's a little harder starting these colts with all this action going on. When you're at home, they just generally focus on you because you're the only person in there. But with all these people and noises, these trainers are doing a pretty good job in keeping them quiet.
When I do this, when I belly rope my horse, I'm not trying to get the buck out of my colt. What I am doing is I'm teaching this horse that when she feels pressure on her rib cage, that means go forward, go down, but not buck. So, you know, she's a little bit on the fresh side, but you kind of see that she's slowly starting to find me. Slowly starting to find me, even when she kind of gets distracted with what's going on. Overall, she's a really kind-minded horse, and I think we're gonna gain some really good ground in the next 3 days. And just take note that when I take pressure out of this belly rope, it is supposed to be my legs, basically. So then when I go to get on her, okay, cool, we got on her back, but she needs to have a basic understanding so that when I get there, she knows kind of what to do and to stick with me. So I'll be kind of just taking a little tug out of the rope, and that means go. But every time that she humps up, bucks, anything like that, you're gonna see me kind of keep jerking that rope until she understands that when I jerk on this rope, this means go, forward motion. So
Lucia with the little quarter horse here, she's trying to get her attention before she flips that saddle over her back and scares her.
I really like this filly. All right, so evidently she a little bit more happy with the saddle than the belly rope. So now that I got her saddled, my main focus is working in the middle. It's not about untracking, disengaging the hindquarters. It's all about the middle of the horse, because if you get the middle of the horse soft, both ends are soft. The head's soft, the hindquarters are soft, everything is soft. That's why they want you to do the one rein stop. It bends your horse around, and hopefully you could get your horse back into a safe place. Now with her, you see that I'm really smooth, but she kind of likes to crowd me. She likes to use her face as a wrecking ball a little bit. So I'm going to be addressing that soon to get her a little bit softer in her face, and then hopefully that translates to that first ride. So I'm going to be applying my flag basically where my saddle is. She needs to get to a point where she's comfortable with my energy, because horses are pretty smart. They know that saddle has no energy. They know that saddle pad has no energy. If I throw this horsemanship flag over there, it has no energy. But there's a reason why your horse doesn't grab attention to this until it's attached to you, because you possess the energy. And so that is going to be the main focus for the rest of today. It's just getting her comfortable with my energy, and am I going to get on her today or not? That's up to her. Sure, we had to exert a lot of energy today, but she made me go there to grab her attention. And how do I prove that? Well, you saw her just kind of trotting around. She's kind of in her own space. And now she's realizing that, when she's here with me, this is actually a really good deal. So the cool thing about horses is horses are extremely adjustable. They're extremely forgiving. And so they really put up with a lot. That right there was really good for her. And how was I able to accomplish that much? A lot of it was her mind, her age, and then also with my effectiveness and my timing and feel. And I've just been doing this for a while now.
Couple face planting. This looks really hard, actually.
There's your background advertising horse.
I think this is something that either occurs in people's dreams or their nightmares, but it looks fun. It looks great.
yesterday? Okay, do we see a difference? Yeah, huge difference. With her, the biggest success overnight is she's definitely thinking about me today because of what we did yesterday. And so my plan today is, we're just going to keep going along. One thing that you'll take note is that I'm going to drive her forward, but when I actually go to get on this horse, we're going to do a lot of slow work because I want you to be thinking about that energy. You know, I kind of was dialing it up, dialing up that energy, but I want to bring her energy back down to me to get her mentally soft. Yeah, I'm just going to be working on her ribcage a little bit more, make sure that my steering is there, making sure she's not fearful of my legs, just make sure she's in a mentally good spot with me as a human in general. And then we're just going to go ahead and hop on and just continue on and see where it takes us. But like I say, she tells me how far we go. It's not the other way around.
So something that Lucia's doing here with the flag is touching her everywhere, and which will help when you get on them, that if you happen to touch them somewhere with your foot, your hand, they'll be used to it, desensitizing them a little bit so they don't jump out from underneath you and you accidentally hit me with your foot. Notice how Lucia's rubbing her all over, telling her that she's a good girl. She get used to being touched everywhere. Making sure she's ready to swing that leg over and get on. Right there, she's definitely got that little mare paying attention to her. She's tagged on to her. Lucia's making sure she's got that forward motion so when she crawls on, it's not backwards and over. You want forward motion in these guys. If you don't have any forward motion, they go back and up, which isn't a good thing. So you want that forward motion when they're on the ground. That's why all the ground work is so important. See how Lucia's getting that filly to go forward. You don't want them mocking, or you kind of want that forward motion so they're thinking about their feet moving forward. So Lucia's going to get some assistance here because this little colt's a little sticky. So she's going to have her assistant here just stand in the middle.
Trisha, she's definitely gone from moving her feet a lot to not moving her feet at all, as you can see. So, just so you know, she's not wanting to move her feet forward. It's because of me. is I was trying to get to a point where I just wanted to break those feet forward, okay? So I had a flagger there, got her trotting, just making sure she wasn't sticky to the point she'd be humping up on her back or anything like that. So that is, I used my flagger to get her to break free and move the feet. The reason why I picked my flagger out is because if you do too much of it, the horse isn't paying attention to me. I simply just become the jockey, and she just focuses to this thing, because this is moving her feet, not my feet in the saddle, in the stirrup. Happy birthday, Trisha. So she's 3 years old today. With this little filly, if you were here right when I put her in the ground pen, you may thought, oh gosh, what is Lucia doing? Why did she not use groundwork before saddling this filly? So she was basically standing like this, so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and saddle her colt, and I'm going to just let her tell me where she's at. So that's why she was kind of jumping around a little bit. Totally typical for these new horses. And honestly, if I warmed her up before saddling her, she probably wouldn't have done that. Honestly, since she was just standing still and that energy level's down and low, she's quiet, there's no reason for me as her human to dial that energy up and run her up and then expect her to stand still for the saddle if I felt it was going to be a positive outcome from the get-go. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting her dialed up and moving forward without the help of a flagger today. Right when I got on her, I could feel her just pinching her sternum and raising her back. So I just like over under and wanted to cowboy on her. Yeah, maybe she might hump up for a second. I really dialed it up. But what I like is even though that she put up with me, but she wasn't 100% okay with me, right? But she still jogged and tried her best. Well, if I keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and keep pushing, she's just going to check out. And then she's going to stop and we're going to go backwards again. Running around in a circle is pretty easy for her. So this is her getting a mental break. But I got to keep this horse's feet moving. Because if I just let her stop and stand around, it's going to contradict all the work I just did with her. Okay? So we're just going to do this for a second, kind of get her a little bit more freed up, and then we'll see where we go from there. Because I like to see her travel like this, under saddle with me, because if I can, then technically I can get her loping and get her going. But she has to relax like this. I'm not forcing this horse to do anything. This whole entire 3 days has been my consistency, my effectiveness, and my timing. That's why I got so far with this horse. Nothing else. Is this too much for this horse? No, because I'm going at her speed.
Now, if you're watching Lucia here, on Trisha, she's got her feet moving really good, but both of them feel a little more confident now since she stepped off her originally and worked her a little more, got her a little more ready. And so now they're both moving, or Trisha's moving her feet a lot better for her and moving a lot freer and a lot more confident on what Lucia's asking.
Now, that's pretty good. So I've had a grand total of 3 hours with this horse. Now, if I had 2 hours each day with her, like 1 hour, half-hour break, and then another hour, guarantee you we'd be walk, trot, lope, both directions, right outside here. Also, of course, hands down. This horse is perfect for that sort of structure, but you could only do so much with a horse in 1 hour per day. That's the difference. Overall, I'm really happy with her.